All right, good news, everybody. We have upped the motion graphics budget for this week, so bring it on in. Come on, guys. Come on. In. Almost. Getting there. And stop. Great. Perfect. Hey there, happy campers. Jason back again with another video, and this week I am relegated over to this third of the screen because all over here I got to make room for all of the motion graphics for this week because we're talking about resources. If you've ever wondered where those counselors that are really awesome at camp, or where your program director or assistant director get all of their ideas from, where they go in the off season to look for new ideas, well, this is the episode for you. I'm going to give you all of my secret places that I have where I go to look for new ideas for things to bring to programming, things to camp, how to get me inspired for camp, and just basically how to be a better counselor. Now, if you're the type of person who's looking for a specific type of resource in particular, I've gone ahead and broken them down in the chapters down below so that you can go ahead and find the type that you're looking for. But I highly recommend that you watch this entire episode from start to finish. All of these resources are really amazing. I personally have used each and every single one of them, and they helped make me a better counselor. With that, let's go ahead and dive into the first resource type, which is podcasts. And my absolute favorite podcast to make me a better camp person is the Scamp Life podcast, hosted by Kelly Cook, Chris Carlisle, and Kurt Jackson. This is one of my favorite podcasts. Now, this one specifically is more geared towards programming for counselors and admin staff, though they do sprinkle in a couple of non-programming episodes every once in a while. They're very funny, very engaging. You can tell that they genuinely like each other and play off of each other very well. The episodes are about 30 minutes in length, so really easy to get through on a commute or to put into the background and just listen to while you're doing your studying or your schoolwork or what have you. Some episodes that I can recommend that you check out: episode 122, all about how to teach skills to campers. Episode 117 is all about homesickness. And episode 80 is all about 5-minute brain breaks for the campers. And if we want to shamelessly self-promote here, the guy in episodes 111 and 112 were so good they had to make it a 2-part episode. So, there's that. Now, the next podcast that I want to talk about is First Class Counselor, hosted by Matt Hansberger and Oliver Gregan. This is one of the only podcasts that you're going to find out there on Apple Podcasts or whatever you listen to it on that is going to be specifically geared towards camp counselors. And thankfully, one of the only podcasts for camp counselors is also one of the best podcasts for camp counselors. Now, these episodes come in at a little bit longer than the Scamp Life podcast. These episodes are about an hour each, but they still go by really quickly and are full of tons of really good information. Some quick episodes to highlight from this one. Episode 37 is all about how to make mistakes at camp and to grow from them. Episode 34 is all about supporting new staff and how to welcome them into camp. And episode number 30 is all about using camper-centric language and camper-supportive language at camp. Honestly, though, all of their episodes are amazing. I'd recommend just starting at episode 1 and just making it your goal to get through all of them by the start of camp for next summer. They're all really good. And by the way, I forgot to mention at the top, but I'm going to be leaving links to all of these resources that I talk about down in the description, so you can go down there and find links to all of the things that I'm going to talk about today. And then the third podcast that I wanted to highlight is Camp Code, hosted by Ruby Compton, Gabby Rail, and Beth Allison. If you're somebody who's transitioning into a leadership role at camp for this coming summer, this is absolutely a must listen. Now, this podcast is all geared towards staff training and making staff training as impactful and meaningful as possible for your counselors. So if you're somebody who either wants to know what it is that your director is going to be talking about during staff training, or at least should be, or if you're somebody who, like I said, is new to a leadership role and your director goes to you, or you expect them to, and say, hey, I need you to lead X, Y, and Z sessions during staff training, this is a great resource for you to check out. Me personally, I love using their 11 videos to use its staff training episode as sort of like a playlist to get me in the right headspace as I get ready for camp. And in episode 90, Beth Allison does this amazing speech where she basically says, here's to you, directed towards her counselors. And it's so inspirational and really does a great job of getting you ready for the upcoming summer. absolutely give it a listen. Again, I'll link it down in the description. Next up, I want to talk about books. Any good camp counselor's library is going to have a ton of resource books that they can just turn to during the summer to get inspired for ideas or how to better do their job. And the first one that I want to recommend is Summer Camp Secrets by Rue Foster. This book is an absolute bargain at only $5 and over 280 pages of content. It does a really good job of helping you understand your role as a counselor and how to do it better through the lens of a diary of a first-year camp counselor. It does a really good job of this, and it is a very easy read. It's packed with tips, tricks, lessons learned, opportunities taken and missed. It gets into the dirtier side of being a camp counselor and that it's not all sunshine and roses all the time, but here's how you can go about making it as awesome as possible. And I can honestly say it is one of my favorite books that I have downloaded to my Kindle. Such a good deal. The next book that I want to highlight is The Ultimate Camp Counselor Guide by Mark Richmond. This book does a really great job of pasting over all of the wishy-washy parts of working with campers and gets down to the business of it. Working with kids is hard. Working at camp is hard. Here's how we can make it as awesome and amazing and get through that difficulty as possible. Mark does a great job of breaking down how to get over the hurdles of unmotivated and uninspired campers to get them to thrive and be successful at camp. He's also one of the few authors on my shelf that goes ahead and breaks down behavior management at camp and how to set realistic but firm expectations for your campers, how to hold them accountable to it, and what to do when they test those limits and test those boundaries. At the time of recording, you can pick this book up for about $15 on Amazon. Go ahead and check it out if that's something that interests you. Now, the next book that I have on my list is an absolute classic. It's pretty much on every camp director's shelves. It's also the shortest book in my list at only 69 pages, and that is Camp is for the Camper by Connie Coutelier. Oh God, don't tell Connie that I messed up her name. It's one of those names I've just never heard said out loud. Connie, I'm so sorry that I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Anyway, last name mispronunciations aside, this book does an absolutely amazing job at reminding you, just like its title says, that camp is for the camper. Yeah, you might be at camp to work on yourself and improve some things and get better at working with children, but ultimately, we're there for the campers. And if we didn't have campers, we wouldn't have camp. This is a book that frequently goes on sale, especially around the holiday season, and you'll frequently find it bundled together with other counselor resource books. So I would say if you can find it for a good price or bundled with another resource book, then it is absolutely worth picking up for yourself. And then the last book that I wanted to go ahead and recommend for you is the Camp Counselor Smart Guide, How to Work and Play with Kids at Summer Camp by Michael Pastor. Now, this book is essentially a textbook. It is beefy at over 300 pages and 41 chapters. It is definitely not one that you're going to be able to read cover to cover, but it is an amazing all-in-one resource for just about any situation that could arise at camp. Now, this book has just about everything in it, from curing homesickness to setting boundaries with your campers, a ton of great games and activities to play with your campers, and also developmental characteristics for the different ages and stages of your campers. Now, this one's available in both hardcover and paperback, and I recommend that if you can afford it, definitely get the hardcover version. You're going to be pulling this book out a lot. It's going to be getting a lot of use from you. You're going to want that extra life that you get with a hardcover book. Next up, let's talk about some websites that I use and recommend that my counselors use in order to get ideas and come up with amazing programming. And the first one is ultimatecampresource.com. So like its name suggests, it is the ultimate camp resource. It's been around for a really long time. I remember using this when I was a counselor. Just now realizing that was like 15 years ago. You're getting old, Jason. You're getting old. Anyway, it was a great website when I was using it back when I was a counselor, and they've only made it better as the years have gone on. This website has everything from skits to songs, camp cheers, games. And the thing that I really like about it is it includes videos in a lot of the activities. So if you're somebody like me who, when you see the instructions written out or just the lyrics to the song, you don't quite get it, it's really nice to be able to either see the game played or hear the song being sung so that you can kind of get a feel for what the rhythm is. This site has got you. It's also got name games, arts and crafts projects, team building games. It really is the ultimate camp resource. If you're going to go and check out one of them after this video is done, go ahead and check that one out, but leave yourself enough time because you're going to start going down the rabbit hole once you start on this site. The next website that I want to talk about is summercamppro.com, and in this one, the pro stands for programming. This website is all about amazing programming ideas that you can take and use at your own camp. You're going to find lists on this website like 50 amazing rainy day activities or 20 pirate themed activities you can do at camp. This website is really big on its lists, like those examples that I just gave, but these lists are really good at giving you the ideas and to kind of get the ball rolling for you to then take off with them. It'll give you the, oh, do a treasure hunt for Pirate Week, and then you kind of go, oh yeah, treasure hunt. It's not going to spell out how to do the treasure hunt. You kind of take over from there, but it's the thing that gave you the idea to do the treasure hunt. Hopefully that makes sense. You're also going to find things like 500 summer camp nicknames. If you're going to a camp that uses camp names, it's a great place to get started if you need a camp nickname. Or things like how to run a dodgeball tournament at camp. It really has something for everyone. I use this website all the time when I know that I have a general thing that I need help for, say evening activities. I'll go to this website and it'll give me the idea that's that little nudge that I needed to then go and take off and come up with the rest of the idea myself. And then really quickly, I also did want to give a quick shout out to the Patchwork Marketplace. Now this one is very similar to Summer Camp Pro. However, all of the items that you're going to find in here are more in depth, but they're also paid. If any of you work in schools and have heard of the website Teachers Pay Teachers, it's basically that, except for summer camp. All of the resources that you're going to find on here are created and were developed by summer camp people, a lot of them program directors or camp directors, and they've now put these resources online for you to be able to use them. And do know that something like 80% of the money that you spend on resources on Patchwork Marketplace do go back to the person who made them, so you are helping to directly support those people. Now, unlike Summer Camp Pro, the things that you're going to find on this site go into a lot more detail. So instead of giving you just the idea for the treasure hunt for Pirate Week, it's going to break down how to do a treasure hunt for Pirate Week and like 12 other ideas in the same document. It's also really good for the materials that you're going to need in order to run the activity successfully. The example that I can give is once I was running a deal or no deal activity at my summer camp, I was able to go on to Patchwork Marketplace and find a spreadsheet that would break down the prizes that I was supposed to offer based on which suitcases had already been taken. Something that would have taken me like hours to put together in Excel. It was already there. I could just take it, use it for myself, and it made the activity so much smoother. Now, next up, I've got some social media resources that are worth your time. The first two are on Instagram. They're worth a follow. And the third one is a Facebook group. So the first one is Brit in the Six. This is Bethany. She describes herself as a 20-something-year-old Brit living and working in the Metro Toronto area. She does a really great job of using her reels to come up with quick tip videos that are geared towards first-time staff or international staff who are coming over to work at camp on J1 visa. She was also one of this channel's first followers on Instagram, so go ahead and give her a follow as well. Tell her that I sent you. Help spread the love around. Next account that's worth your time and follow is Summer Camp Secrets, spelled like this without the E in summer and the A in camp. This is Rue Foster, the author of the first book that I mentioned way back when. She does a really good job of giving you sort of the behind the scenes of what it's like to be a counselor at camp. Really funny, really good at showing the less glamorous side of being a camp counselor, but also keeping the humor in it. Rue is currently the assistant director at the camp that she's at right now. She came up through the ranks. She's English. She's been through all of the things that you have been through, worked her way up as a camp counselor, as a brand new international counselor. She's been there. She's done that. Really great insights from her. And the last social media resource that I wanted to mention is a group on Facebook. That is the Summer Camp Counselors and Leaders group. Go ahead and give them a join if you want to connect with other people in your shoes from around the country. If you're one of the few Gen Zs that is actually still on Facebook. If you have a question or a problem, there's a good chance that it's already been covered in this group. So go ahead and use that search function to go and find the answer because it's probably already been talked about. If not, go ahead and and type it into that group, and you'll get a ton of really great insights and ideas to help you with your situation. This is also a really great place when it comes time to find a job working at camp. A lot of camps are in this group, and they will post the openings that they have in the spring going into the summer for positions that they need to be filled. So it's a great way to connect with camps who are looking for your services. So finally, I have some conferences and online learning opportunities that I wanted to take the chance to share with you guys. And the first conference that I wanted to talk about is ScampCon. And ScampCon, the thing that I love about it is that it is 100% free. Do I really need to say anything else? Of course I do. Why would I not say anything else? They have been around since 2019, and they've been doing virtual conferencing since before it was cool and everybody else was doing it. Last year's conference basically spanned the entire off season, going from early November until late February, and it had 2-day summits dedicated to a bunch of different subjects like programming, marketing, administrative stuff, but also camp craft ideas, a maker summit, things like that. So definitely resources that a camp counselor could take advantage of. Now, I started off just going to the summits that most pertain to me, but then I ended up making really, really good friends with the conference attendees. We would always have these wrap-up sessions afterwards. You'd see the same people, and I ended up making really, really good friends and having this great social online circle that I could rely on to see twice a week. And I ended up just going to all of the sessions from then on out, and I'm really, really grateful for the friendships that I've made because of ScampCon. Now, the details for ScampCon 2022 are still being worked out. The dates haven't been set yet. I know it's not going to be as long as last year. I was talking to the organizer, and he said that that was crazy and a lot of work. He was glad that he did it, but it was a lot of work. So go ahead and check out their website to stay up to date on all of those details and when those dates do go live. Now, the next training opportunity that I wanted to highlight is the Summer Camp Society's Seasonal Leadership Training Seminar. This one is only $99, and there are scholarships available if price is an obstacle for you. Honestly, the guys at the Summer Camp Society are just amazing. They are really, really dedicated towards professional development and helping to make camp as meaningful and impactful for both the counselors and the campers as possible. So if you're someone who is transitioning into a leadership role at camp or already are in a seasonal leadership position, highly, highly recommend this training. Jack and Sarah over at Summer Camp Society always do such an amazing job. They're always very, very intentional in their trainings, and even though I've personally never been able to attend one, even though I only live like an hour away from them, I've heard nothing but great things from everybody who's ever gone to one of their trainings. And then finally, the last resource that I have for you to go check out online is the American Camp Association. I sound like a broken record, but the ACA really is one of the best resources that's out there, both for admin staff and for seasonal counselors. A membership in the ACA is only $30 for a student as long as you are actively enrolled in a degree-granting institution. It is absolutely worth the money. You can go on to the ACA not only to find yourself a job at camp with their seasonal hiring board, or if you're transitioning into a full-time job like I've talked about before, you can go on there and find those resources, but you can also find digital copies of Camping Magazine, you'll find blog posts, you'll find ways to connect with your local chapters of your ACA. The ACA also puts on a ton of conferences every year at the state, regional, and national level, and ticket prices for those conferences is severely discounted, both for members and for students. So go ahead and check that out. Absolutely worth your time and worth your investment. And back to the middle I go. So much room to stretch around and move. Who am I kidding? It's still pretty tight in here. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and check out all of the links down in the description to everything that I talked about today. And I'll be back in a couple of weeks with the next video. All right, campers, lights out.